These arrived in the mail this week. The goal is to put them up across the city of Victoria, British Columbia, and invite people into the Encouragement Rampage Challenge. Now, some are already beginning to go up. But putting up posters everywhere is not the same thing as creating adoption. Because when we share an idea and no one responds, we often assume the idea is the problem. Maybe people don't care. Maybe the message is weak. Maybe the whole thing was just a bad idea. But sometimes the idea is not the problem. Sometimes we simply have not found the right first people. My name is Will Winter. I work with businesses to help to strengthen their leadership and their culture. But in these videos, I'm documenting something a little bit more outlandish, something a little bit more large scale. I'm attempting to learn what does it take to spark a movement and create real behavioral change on a city level. The Encouragement Rampage Challenge, that is the vehicle. The goal is simple: to get people to take a 30-day challenge where they're going to give encouraging messages at a more specific and intentional level. After 30 days, 100 people will have received encouragement by them, and it will kickstart the habit of seeing and speaking positive things over people in their workplaces, in their families, in their community. But a question that we're also asking is, how do you take an idea that you believe in and help people to actually buy in? Not just to agree with it, not just to like the post, but actually change their behavior. And this week, I've been thinking about early adoption. Now, let me sketch this out so we can have a visual here. What we've got is a bit of a curve. Maybe you recognize this, maybe you've seen it before. What we've got is 4 sections. Now, we've got here our early adopters. Next, we have our early majority, then late majority, and finally laggards. That's actually what they're called. This is a graph that's used in many examples here. Laggards, people who fall behind, who drag their feet no matter what the initiative. Now, the basic idea is that people would adopt new ideas at different speeds. Not everyone's going to buy into your idea right away. And these early people, early adopters, and also innovators is an even earlier stage if we zoom in. These are people who are comfortable experimenting before something is even proven. Early adopters, they see the potential that most people haven't yet seen. Now, the early majority here, this group of people, they want to watch and see other people do it first. As someone who is looking for proof, they're looking for a story, they want to believe, but they're curious and they're a bit on the sidelines at first. Late majority, they want to wait till it feels normal. And then laggards, people who are just a little resistant for as long as possible. The exact percentages of this is not important. The lesson that we're taking away is that people do not all adopt at the same time. And so when we launch something new, we make the mistake at times as if acting that everyone should. Maybe we broadcast an idea to everyone and we get a limited response. And then we judge it as if the quality of the idea is wrong. Maybe we need a better idea. So, walking through the cities with posters, looking at public boards, cafes, churches, community spaces, I will be doing that. A poster, it's going to create awareness for this campaign. A social media post, it can create some visibility with people, emails, all the rest, but awareness is not the same as adoption. And someone may see one of these posters and think, that's a nice idea. They may even agree that encouragement matters, but they don't know me. They don't know the challenge yet, and they may not understand the larger vision at play here. They may also not see anyone else participating, and so they have no reason to act today. That's what we're trying to get, is these initial adoptions. Now, that doesn't mean these other people are against the idea. It may simply mean that they're not an early adopter. And so if I only just broadcast this broadly and get a weak response and then assume the idea doesn't work, I may abandon it before it reaches the people who are most likely to bring it to life. Instead of just asking, how do I get this in front of the whole city, we need to ask the question, who is most likely to believe in this first? And for this challenge, I think that church leaders may be one of those groups. Now, it's not because this challenge is only for churches. The larger vision includes businesses, schools, nonprofits, neighborhoods, families. Imagine if a whole business, 20, 30 people, took their entire team through this challenge of giving intentional, consistent encouragement. That would transform a workplace. But church leaders, they may already have strong alignment with this idea. Encouragement, community service, generosity, caring for people. These are not uniquely Christian ideas, but there is a strong sense of alignment, and it also aligns with my own background. It aligns with the relationships that I've cultivated being a Christian myself. Now, these people who I'm considering and targeting as early adopters, they don't need to be convinced that encouragement matters. They may simply need a clear way to activate something that they already believe, the Encouragement Rampage Challenge. Now, again, we're talking about alignment. That's one area, but I'm also looking for a second, which is favor. Who or where do I already have trust? And I've touched on that a little bit. Where do I have trust? Where do I have an open door? Who knows me? Who's willing to have a meeting, grab coffee, or read a message I send them, listen to a voice note, or take a phone call? Where is there someone that I already have relational credibility? And as you start to spark or create initiatives yourself, you want to ask, where is there that equity, that relational equity built up? Alignment means the idea makes sense to someone, but favor may mean I have permission to bring it to them, and there's an open door, a little bit more traction that I can draw from. The overlap between alignment and favor is where I'm going to begin. Now, this is a temptation when we're trying to build something meaningful and to get something launched. We want it to go big quickly. We want everything now, this instant gratification. We want hundreds, thousands of people to buy into our ideas. We want momentum. Great. But movements rarely begin with everyone, even on a small community scale. They begin not with everyone, they begin with someone. There's a small number of people that we're after who understand our vision, who trust us, the messenger, and are willing to act before they see results or before they hear others having been involved. That means the early stage may require less broadcasting and more conversations. Less big, here's the idea, everyone join. And more, hey, does this connect with something you already care about? How might this help serve your people? Would you be willing to test this? Those are the types of questions that I'll be asking. Early adopters do more than just participate. They help create those first stories. That's what I still need to capture in this Encouragement Rampage Challenge. These early adopters are going to model the behavior, create the stories, and make the idea credible for the people who will come later. The posters, the postcards, the business cards, they are a tool. And I will be putting these up in approved public locations. That is a start. It makes the challenge visible, and it's going to give this city the physical presence of this challenge. I need to start putting that out there. But that's not the same as having a movement. The poster can create awareness, but a trusted leader, my early adopters, they can create participation. A person needs to model this, needs to buy in and open the doors for their own communities to follow behind. The goal is to actually have people involved, not just aware of this challenge. And so this applies inside of organizations too. The lessons that we can take away from this is that leaders often, when we introduce a new value, a process or a policy or a standard, a behavior, we often announce it by just sharing it to everyone at once. We send out emails, we make a presentation, we show off our clever slides, and then adoption gets slow. We assume it's the team's resistance. Why don't they get it? Why don't they just buy in? Come on, guys, do your job. But we may have skipped the early adopter stage. Inside your team, there's probably people who already feel the problem, people who are aligned with change, and people who they trust you and you can lean on them to buy in, people who influence others already. Start with them. Let them test the behavior. Let them create the early wins, and let their example maybe reduce the uncertainty for everyone else. People want to watch, and then when they're ready, when they've seen the results. So don't confuse, be encouraged. Don't confuse the weak first response with a weak idea. Your idea might not be the problem. Here's 3 questions that we want to ask as we're considering our own initiatives. Who's already aligned? Where do I have favor? And who has influence with others that I can borrow or access? Again, who is already aligned? Where do I have favor or open doors? And who influences others? If you're trying to create change in your workplace, church, community, family, ask yourself, who already cares about the outcome? Where do I have trust? And who can help make this behavior more credible? The first goal may not be to reach everyone. It may be to find the right people who make it easier for everyone else to follow. If you're along on this journey and you're cheering me on, you're extracting ideas, I want to encourage you to subscribe. I also want to encourage you, if you've reached it this far in the video, maybe you are an early adapter to the Encouragement Rampage Challenge. Check the link below, theencouragementrampagechallenge.com. This idea could transform your family, your school, your environment. And if you are interested and you live in the city of Victoria, British Columbia, I'd love for you to comment and reach out as well, because I would love to bring this into your sphere of influence. Follow along as the journey unfolds of sparking a regional movement.